Let's talk about Lost Ollie, Netflix's latest limited family series set to tug on the heartstrings of many. Following a homemade stuffed rabbit on his quest to find his owner Billy, Lost Ollie is a show that I believe a lot of people will be able to engage with on an emotional level. I'm going to break down this 4-episode series with my own personal thoughts and feelings, just the opinions of an ordinary fella, so if you'd like to share your thoughts on what you made of Lost Ollie down below, whether you agree or disagree, then feel free. For this honest review, I'm going to discuss key plot details as usual, so there will be major spoilers ahead. Naturally, I imagine that Lost Ollie is inevitably going to be compared to Toy Story, most notably Toy Story 2. A talking toy separated from his owner, trying to find his way back with a group of companions, but explores what it means to be a toy and the depth of loss and separation woven into the seams. Lost Ollie definitely punched my guts in the back half of the series, that's for certain, which I'll get to a little later. But first, I must admit that when it came to the opening episodes, I was fearing Lost Ollie was going to end up a little bit run-of-the-mill. Not that the later messages were completely original, of course, but I knew this show needed to be allegorical to be truly strong. Yet in big chunks, it was looking like a run-around caper series with Ollie trying to remember little clues from his past to find out where to look for Billy next. It all felt a little bit slapped together for a period of time. Ollie can remember a place that might give him clues, he and his friends travel to that place, and then Ollie remembers something else which takes them to another place. I find that the quest narrative isn't what is important here though. It was a means for the story to continue onwards and flesh out the inner meanings, which for me hit home pretty effectively. You see, in Lost Ollie, we handle various kinds of loss and explore the varying effects of the fallout bereavement. The major example within the show is Billy's mother, who ultimately passes away due to illness, and with how the show is presented in a non-linear style, the death of Billy's mother was a guarantee, and so for greater emotional impact, the writers had to pack in little moments in the build-up to her death to contextualize the heartbreak of the loss. I definitely think they succeeded in that department here. When you pretty much know the fate of a character, if they present their fate in a regular linear way, then there's not much of a shock factor when it happens. However, knowing the character's fate and then in the build-up to the fate, having these beautiful character bonding moments, it makes their words sink in deeper. For me, that was the best way to present the events in this show. So when it comes to the mother's death, the loss opened up here is Billy's loss of his mother and Billy's dad's loss of his wife. Death is very much a concrete loss, an absolute form of loss that cannot be tampered with, only dealt with, and Lost Ollie has several scenes exploring how you can mentally approach the death of a loved one. But then we get several other forms of loss. In the case of Billy and Ollie, their loss is a literal one. Ollie has lost Billy and reaches within himself to realize how much he loves and needs Billy. However, as we learn later, when Billy abandons Ollie from being called a baby by a bully, Billy has moved on. He's growing up, and the world around him tells him to leave childish things behind. You can see that in Billy's character too, being good at pool, hanging around in a bar and getting into a fight. Billy's ready to grow into an adult, and having a cuddly childhood friend doesn't fit into that equation for him. So with that, Ollie feels another type of loss, rejection. The one person in the world he needs no longer needs him, and that rejection is also felt when Zozo leaves Rosie, his pink pirate teddy bear friend, and that he doesn't want to see her again. This all comes about from one further example of loss, when we have Zozo's loss of Nina. Zozo is a clown Elvis-style toy from a carnival that falls in love with a dancing girl model from the stall opposite. However, in an auction, Nina and Zozo are separated, and that leads Zozo to track her down, becoming a darker version of himself in the process. This was an angle I never expected. I kinda felt there could have been a heel turn by Zozo, especially when his personality and mannerisms are near enough identical to Lotso from Toy Story 3, but to see Zozo presented as this brutal torturer of other toys by tearing them apart, this was a ruthless tonal shift that really did catch me off guard for the better. Yet here we see Zozo's reaction to separation. He's had a person he loves taken away from him by someone else. His loved one hasn't become lost by accidental circumstances or passed away. His loved one has been taken from him out of his control. And I connected this to things like kidnapping kidnapping or custody of a child. If someone you love is taken from you, your pursuit of getting them back can turn you into something you're not. It can bring out something dark from deep within you and make you do the unthinkable so long as it gets you closer to regaining what you've lost. And to me, Zozo represents the worst possible outcome of loss, becoming a monster. As a show, I applaud Lost Ollie for exploring all these different variations of losing a loved one, and both the positive and negative impacts that loss can have on those directly impacted. But another layer to the show I absolutely loved was how the importance of toys is presented. This isn't a sweeping statement that everyone feels this way, but I believe that most people share a very personal and special connection with their childhoods. I often myself remember lots of happy memories from my childhood, and at times take part in things I did as a child, whether it's watching a certain film or going to a particular place I went to a lot as a kid. Many of us have a fountain of youth, or even several fountains, that now and again we bring back to reconnect ourselves with the most distant yet most influential part of our lives. And for a lot of people, toys from our childhood are very much a type of those fountains. I myself still have a cuddly toy named Jack from being a kid, who I have lots of memories with, but now I'm getting to see my nephew play with him, and that lights up my own happy memories as he creates some of his own. They explore a similar moment in Lost Ollie, when right at the end it makes you think Billy's dad has found Ollie and is returning it to Billy. However, with a super clever and emotionally charged switcheroo, it's actually adult Billy passing Ollie onto his own daughter. And we also learn that Ollie's heart is a bell from Nina's outfit, making the little girl that won Nina in the auction Billy's mother. The mother put a piece of Nina, her childhood friend, into a toy for her son, and then when Billy's grown up, he passes on both his and his mother's love down to his daughter. Toys can act as vessels of love and memories. They can remind us of simpler, happier times, but also of people that we have lost along the way. Toys carry that love and those memories on into other people who can grow old and pass them on again. It's a continuous cycle, and I think Lost Ollie does a fabulous job of demonstrating the meaningful nature toys can have. To talk about some of the other elements to the show, I think the production quality is really good. Ollie, Zozo, Rosie and Nina are not only cool designs, but their movement and the quality of the CGI I thought was pretty remarkable here. The texturing of the toys and the lighting on them in certain shots, throwing them into a live action world as well, everything gelled super well. Oh, and in terms of the score, that violin soundtrack at times was gorgeous, and many of the song choices were nailed to enhance the emotional direction of scenes. Overall, I really enjoyed Lost Ollie. I feared from the earlier parts of the series it was going to be a bit of a standard adventure, but by taking that sharp left turn into much darker themes and scattering it with thought-provoking symbolism, the show wound up being an important, meaningful work that, despite its sadness, has uplifted me into a state of melancholy. It even made me grab Jack the monkey for the first time in a long time, and he sat watching me type up this video script. So thanks for the memories, buddy, and here's to making some more. On that note, let me know your thoughts on Lost Ollie down below. If you enjoyed this one, a cheeky sub would be much appreciated, and we shall see you again for another honest review. Cheers out!